Season 33 of Dancing with the Stars premiered Tuesday night, and we have a whole new lineup of stars, a whole lot of new action. And here to break it down with me is former mirrorball champion Cheryl Burke. Cheryl, how are you? It is so good to see you.
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. And now that you're not dancing, where have you been watching the show? Are you watching with friends at home?
I'm still technically working because I have to do these live reviews that actually drop on my podcast every Wednesday. So I'm actually here in the same room, probably not as, groomed and watching from my laptop.
Well, we got a lot to talk about. First things
Yes.
first, I want to talk about the social buzz around Anna Delvey. What did you think of her performance and how Ezra choreographed around that permanent ankle monitor?
Well, unfortunately, I feel like the ankle monitor left her a little lopsided. I think that I'm trying to figure out like what would be the solution here. Maybe it was to add like one pant of beaded fringe just to like even I'm not trying to be funny. Like it's true. It's hard to have more weight on one leg than the other and still stay grounded. I don't think that like her dancing itself just alone does not bother me. I think in a way she has natural mobility and she's able to like do these telespins and it was super sleek and she definitely has that Eastern like European way about her movement that I've
Yeah.
seen with like Karina, that I've seen with obviously with Danny, and like that's something that she could really use to her advantage. But what is going to stop her from continuing on in this competition is not showing her vulnerability, if there is even that, because I'm pretty sure her wall is pretty thick and she's been hurt as she's hurt other people. I'm pretty sure of it. And I think that she has such a um, huge wall that it's going to be almost impossible. But this is why I wanted her paired with Val, because I think Val would have cracked it open just a little bit. Um, Ezra is dealing with a lot for his first season. However, this show is a lot. So I think he can handle it, or else he wouldn't have been assigned to be a pro. I'm not too worried about that. I'm more worried about his time on the show could be short-lived because of the fact that his partner hasn't been cracked open or has been told off camera, look, you got to come out of your shell, or you got to at least take accountability over something. I wanted to like have compassion for her, but I can't have compassion for anyone that doesn't take any accountability over anything.
What did you think of the comments that Carrie Ann made after their performance? She addressed the backlash that she's been getting, but also told people to give her a chance. What did you think of that?
Look, I think some people may have thought it was not inappropriate, maybe a little inappropriate coming from Carrie Ann, but I agree with her. Like if I could feel it behind my laptop, I'm pretty sure that vibe as soon as she walked out was, it goes, this is why she shouldn't have gone last. Like she could have gone second to last, but to end like that after such a high, because the show could just continue to get better and better. And then I know why they left her for last. Obviously, people wanted to see her. But man, like that type of reaction is like when Bobby Bones won. It's like when, there's certain moments of the show that you just won't forget. And the live audience, people take that for granted. Like those are the people, like you can hear if someone's going to make it through to the next week or not.
We do have a lot of athletes on this season.
I think
Um,
it's too much. You don't think so?
it is a lot, I will say. And
Like a
I'm
quarter of the competition is athletes.
yeah, we got two gymnasts. We have an NBA star, we have an NFL star. Let's first talk about Danny. How do you think he did week one versus how other NFL stars we've had on have done week one? I know you have had a couple, Emmett Smith
Yeah.
being one of them that you won with.
There's a lot of potential there. I think that they could be the dark horse. Their chemistry is hot. I think they're just still holding, or Danny's definitely holding back. Obviously, he doesn't do this for a living, but it's innocent chemistry. But they just, with some people, you just have electric chemistry with. And I think if Whitney can really hone in on the foundation and the technique, like of the tango, for example. I've said this in this episode that's launching today about the show last night. If he could just keep his head away, like, and really maintain a solid frame and get his weight, it's so technical, but get his weight into the back of his heels and keep his head away from his arms, this would have been a whole nother ball game for sure.
Yeah. And I loved seeing Whitney back. It was so good.
Oh, she looks amazing. She looks like she
No,
hasn't missed a season at all.
I was gonna say the same thing. Such a
I
pro.
love that she's like the more experienced one now because she would always come to me and be like, "You're like my mom." Instead, I'm like, "I am so old. I need to leave now." But like now, she's the one that is like,
Yeah.
she's. It's so funny. We just all grow up so fast.
One that I thought was maybe the most entertaining of the night was Dwight Howard. Talk to us about that height difference. Everyone's talking about it online. It was very clear to see. But as a dancer yourself, what are some of those challenges that Danielle is going to have? Creating the choreography for him, making sure he does a good job. Last night on the press line, for example, she was showing me that even when he like has his arms reached out, she can't even reach past like his elbow, which is
Mm-mm.
to me.
I don't know if you heard, but he was supposed to be my partner my
Yes.
last season. I am so like, there's a God, there is a God. I think I would have been just broken in half. Like I'm not one to do lots of lifts. Like I was training more in the classical side of ballroom where there are no lifts allowed, period. But and I would say the same for Danny and Pasha, but Danny seems more of a daredevil. I'm like, keep my feet on the ground and you're just gonna have to dance content and that's it in quality. But I think if anyone can handle it, it's Danny, and I think I would like to see before I put them, even though I did predict them as my top four, but before I really nail that in the coffin there, I really hope that they're able to execute a solid ballroom dance with no lifts. That's the test. I want to see them do a quick step. And I also want the judges to hold down the fort. There are rules. Like it's a little bit like are there rules? Like, because as far as I'm concerned, the only tango that was real was Brandon and Chandler's.
Talking to Dwight last night, I know that he's played with a lot of legends in the NBA, one of them being Kobe. And I brought up how Kobe has actually made some appearances on the show. He has been a
Yes,
guest
he
in the
did.
ballroom. What was your experience like? Because I think with Rick Fox, he came to kind of talk to you guys
Oh,
in
yeah.
between, right?
It was crazy. I will never forget it. We went to their headquarters, whatever you call it. My vocabulary in basketball a little off, but it was difficult to get them. And this was like the one and only chance. And Phil was not into doing these interviews as much. Like he was just like, okay, hurry up. And I'll never forget, our poor field producers, they were just like, this was like money for them, right? Because they were like super fans. And then they were still trying to get like these master interviews and OTFs. And Phil Jackson was like, you've got 2 seconds. What do you need from me? But I have to say, Kobe was over, like, he was really sweet and he was willing to work with production. And I could see the way that Rick really looked up to him, and because he is just the best, or he was the best at what he did. And I mean, I also admire athletes like that have really dedicated their lives to becoming experts in their craft.
I know you brought up Chandler. I'm gonna say early front runner on my end. Do you agree?
Well, first of all, Derek, that was not a 7. Like, let's be real.
Yes.
I gave them a 9, and you'll hear that in this episode that drops
Okay.
today. But like, I have no shame in giving. I mean, back in season one, they gave tens out for week one. Like, it's
Amazing.
crazy. Now, was it perfect? No, but I think I was really impressed with how grounded they were. And talk about like, first of all, Brandon, I'm so proud of him. Like, I could literally just jump
Oh,
on him and give him a big kiss because I've been giving him a hard time. I'm like,
yeah.
stick to ballroom. Like, I almost was like so frustrated that I was like, why aren't you using the training period to create not just Brandon, by the way, it's really any newer pros? Because
Yeah.
from what I know, this show was ballroom. Now, look, I think that Brandon honestly proved himself last night. Now, what's going to be hard is keeping that momentum because when you're that solid, it's like, and you don't have the turnaround is pretty quick. It's a little scary, because the pressure is on, right? But I think if anyone can handle it, it's those two. They look really good together.
They do. And I know she has a little bit of dance experience, but ballroom is a whole different beast. So talk to us about that for viewers that might not understand. I
Yeah.
just
I
your
talked to Jack Osborne a lot about it because, like, Amber won during his season, and she obviously had dance experience. I mean, she barely rehearsed. Like, we were there, like, day in and day out, like, just hammering and being so strict with Jack. And then Amber would come in for like an hour and a half, and we're like, "Whoa, okay." Like, she obviously it helps. But I think I would hope the judges are harder. Jack said they were that, like, even with Amber, they didn't let her out like off the, you know, whatever it was that they were critiquing so easily. But I do and I don't. I guess it all depends on who is in this competition. The fact that she does have dance experience, it's not helping in a way because she has ballet experience, and ballet and ballroom couldn't be more opposite from one another.
Yeah, I was gonna say I took ballet all of my life, and when I tried any type of ballroom, I was like, where do I
Well,
start?
because your energy goes up, right?
Yes. Yep.
Right? Like it, like to be grounded and have hip action. You're like, what?
Like, what is
Ballet?
that? I never used that before. I know. As far as dark horses this season, who are you feeling is going to surprise us, let's say week 4, week 5?
I think Danny and Whitney for sure. I still think Steven and Riley are going to most likely make the final, if not semifinal. But I think Alona and Alan are going to also be the dark horse.
Yeah.
I hope that Phaedra, like, it's interesting because Phaedra needs to really work on the detail if she wants to be considered into that top 4 or top 5. And I just hope that she continues having fun and not, because it's a fine line of taking it too seriously. And then you're like, what happened to the person behind all of this? Like your personality is gone now because like you just want to make your partner proud. And it's like, I really hope that people start to change that. Like it's not about making us proud. It's about you doing like you and the best that you can do, right? Like, and we're proud regardless. I hope this is what Val is saying to Phaedra.
So what would be your advice genuinely to everyone, just going from that week 1 to week 2 show, especially now knowing that there's going to be a double elimination? I feel like that's
Oh, there
so
is
much
a double
pressure.
elimination?
Yeah, double elimination. It's so much pressure.
Well,
So
at least
early.
they're not the only ones going home. No, I'm kidding. It's horrible. That just sucks. Okay, so week 1 and week two's dances were already given to them. So they've already prepped for both dances, put it that way. What is going to be interesting is, first of all, I think what every couple needs to know and take 1 hour out of every rehearsal to work on is transferring your weight from foot to foot. Like it
Mm,
will make such a big difference. It's like understanding, and it's not like it's not rocket science, but like just to and in your heels for women especially, it's like put 100% of your weight onto your left side, lift up your free foot. Do it again on this. Like it sounds so basic, but it will help so much. And I think for those couples who didn't have the full 3 weeks,
mhm.
Rumba walks, like you've got to build a foundation. It is so important. And I think that they kind of shoot the, which I get too, because people are starting to get to know each other. You either like each other or you don't like each other. And it's all fun and games, but the quick turnaround will happen between week 3 and week 4, and then you're screwed. It's all about like the survival of the fittest, who can learn the quickest and who can execute after
Yeah.
that.
We need you there as like a permanent mentor. Like in rehearsal, I want to see you talking this in every
I
back.
know, right?
For real.
Agree.
But we hear so much of this on your podcast, and I'm so excited. Congratulations. You have a
Thank
whole new
you.
season coming. How does it
I
feel to
know.
like one get picked up for another season?
I mean, first of all, I've never talked so much in my life, okay? So it's been a huge, what I love is that I'm learning new things. And I think that's what was missing for me when I was on the show towards the end there was just, I wanted to challenge myself. And it was like, there was a standstill for me. And I knew that that was my time to exit. But I never thought that this podcast was going to be successful. I thought it was going to be,
Took off
which it
so
is, super niche. I thought it was going to be just for the fans that know how to even listen to a podcast, right? That would come in. And it's been so therapeutic. It's been beautiful to get to know these people I've worked closely with, or so I thought until I interviewed them. There's so much I didn't even know about Jack Osborne, for example. And it's been healing, really has.
yeah, that's beautiful to hear. And I love the guests that you've had so far, but who can you tease is going to be coming up?
We've
What
got
can
Kate Flannery coming up. We've got Penn Jillette. We have Antonio Sabato Jr. Cody Rigsby's coming on.
Cody, I loved Cody, and that whole COVID experience was just crazy
Oh
for you.
my God.
I'll
That
never
Zoom
forget.
dance that we got underscored for, like what?
Yes.
Still
Oh,
pissed.
well, aside from the special guests, what kind of topics are you going to be addressing that you can share with us so far? I know you don't want to reveal everything, but just some little
Well,
teasers.
I mean, I just do a lot of research on my guests. Like if they have books, I read the books, and I just want to, it's really not so much about, like we do talk about Dancing with Stars, but I first want to get to know them. Like who are they? Where are they from? Family dynamics, first memory as a little kid, because it's fascinating. And
Mhm.
like I said, I just didn't know about this. Even if they were my partners, like I had no idea, and it would have been helpful, but I guess I just wasn't as curious when I was like, ballroom, here we go. Five,
Yeah.
six, seven, eight.
But it is
And I
crazy. Like they're spending hours and days together, and just the fact that
it's an
it's like
arranged
wow,
marriage.
hours later.
I
Yeah.
know, it's fascinating. And actually I've learned a lot because listening has been challenging, and I read everyone's comments and I'm very well aware, and I just want to be better. So look, I love the challenge and I hope that this podcast continues. So we'll see what happens.